In this video, I'm going to be covering the top 10 countries for you to study mechanical and aerospace engineering in. Now, I've created this list based on my own extensive research based on multiple factors such as the cost, quantity and quality of programs, stayback options, placements, ROI, and much more. But at the end of the day, this is still my own opinion, and therefore everyone should be doing their own research before they finalize or reject any particular country. Now, for every country, I'm going to explain the different pros and cons, and I'm also going to be sharing a few universities that I think you should be applying to if you are considering that country. Hi, I'm Amaya, an MBA from the University of Toronto and a study abroad counselor that's helped hundreds of students get into the world's top ranked universities. I also make videos to help students make the right career and study abroad choices. So if you haven't already, do subscribe to the channel. It'll be the win-win for the both of us. Coming in at number 10, the first country on this list is the United Kingdom. Now, the UK has some legendary universities when it comes to mechanical and aerospace engineering, specifically Cambridge, Imperial, Manchester, and Sheffield. And I do understand that the job situation in the UK right now is not all that great, which is why I've put it at number 10 and not any higher on the list. However, the fact of the matter is that the UK still has the 10th highest manufacturing output of any country in the world, which means that it does have a significant industrial base. In fact, you have iconic companies such as Airbus, Rolls-Royce, Land Rover, and Jaguar that hire students from the UK's top universities. My only advice to students who are choosing universities in the UK is to look for work placement programs because that will enhance their job prospects on graduation. And during the work placement, you also get paid as a full-time employee. So the money that you earn can go towards covering the cost of your education. Next, at number 9, we have Japan. Now, there are 9 universities in Japan that make it to the top 200 universities in the world when it comes to mechanical and aerospace engineering. So you know that the quality of education is really great. Plus, these universities are quite affordable too, with fees being between 5 to 15 lakh rupees even for international students on an annual basis, which is much more affordable than some of the English-speaking countries. But where Japan truly stands out is in its aggressive outreach to international students. Most other countries are right now closing doors or making it difficult for international students to study, but Japan is the opposite. They're rolling out the red carpet for international students, and the reason for that is simple. They're facing a demographic challenge wherein the population is declining at a rapid rate, and the manufacturing sector is one of the hardest hit. It contributes 27% to the Japanese economy and is extremely labor intensive. So they feel these labor shortages in Japan the most. Now, on the flip side, the issue with Japanese universities is that at the undergrad level, you have few programs that are taught in English, and at the master's level, you do have programs that are taught in English, but applying is slightly challenging because at the MS level, you do need letters of recommendation from the professors of the universities that you are applying to, which is challenging to obtain. But if you can overcome this and the language barrier, then studying in Japan is a great option for anyone who wants to get into mechanical or aerospace engineering. Next up at number 8, we have South Korea. Now, admittedly, South Korea's manufacturing output is lesser than Japan's, and it has fewer universities than Japan for mechanical and aerospace engineering. But the two main advantages is that number 1, the documentation requirements are lesser than Japan, so applying to the Korean universities is easier. And secondly, you're going to find more English taught programs in South Korea than in Japan, especially at the undergraduate level. Now, when it comes to universities, the top 4 or 5 universities, according to me, for this field are SNU, Yonsei, Postech, KAIST, and Korea University. Next up, coming in at number 7, we have Switzerland. Now, Switzerland is known for 3 things: precision engineering, pharmaceuticals, and food processing. So most of the jobs in mechanical engineering are in these 3 domains. And so if you're looking for aerospace engineering, the job opportunities are going to be slightly limited when compared to other countries that are on this list. Having said that, Switzerland does have 2 universities which rank in the top 20 for mechanical engineering: ETH Zurich and EPFL. Now, these universities are, again, like I said, the world's best, but their tuition fees are relatively low compared to other universities in the similar ranking tier. Even for international students, they charge you less than 5 lakh rupees per year, which makes them really affordable. But before you get carried away, let me tell you that at the undergraduate level, these universities do not teach in English. ETH teaches in German, EPFL teaches in French. And at the master's level, ETH does teach in English, but at EPFL, some of the courses are still taught in French. So language proficiency is going to be required. And at any rate, if you want to be competitive in the Swiss job market, you will have to know both German as well as French because both languages are widely spoken in the country. There are a few other things that you need to understand with respect to Switzerland before you finalize this country. For one, the cost of living is extremely high. While other countries, it costs around 10 to 15 rupee lakhs per year in terms of living expenses. In Switzerland, it costs you around 20 lakh rupees per year. The second thing is that Switzerland is actually not a part of the European Union. So transferring to another country using the EU blue card route is actually not possible. And therefore, for all these reasons, my suggestion to students is that if Switzerland is on your list for mechanical engineering, keep it as one of the options, but not the only option. Okay, so at number 6, we have Italy. Italy has become really popular amongst international students in the last 1 or 2 years, and that is mostly because of its affordability. Most public universities will charge international students lesser than 5 lakh rupees per year in terms of tuition fee, which is really affordable. And on top of that, you can apply for need-based financial aid through the DSU scholarship, which not only covers the cost of tuition, but in some cases also gives you an allowance for living expenses. Now, in terms of universities, some of the best universities for mechanical and aerospace engineering in Italy would be Polimi, Polito, University of Bologna, Sapienza, and Padua. These are great universities for you to study mechanical or aerospace engineering both. The problem is the availability of English short programs. At the undergraduate level, you're not going to find many, but at the master's level, you might find some. Now, when it comes to the job market of Italy, it's important to understand that there is no minimum wage that is set by the government of Italy, which means that salaries will be lower than in the rest of Europe. Having said that, Italy is the 8th largest country in the world when it comes to manufacturing output, and 40% of manufacturers, according to some reports, are struggling to fill jobs, which means that it will not be that difficult for you to get jobs in Italy. But most of the jobs in the manufacturing sector are concentrated in areas like pharmaceuticals, aerospace, automobile, and advanced machine manufacturing. So if you do study in Italy, take electives related to these fields because that will help you get a job. So we've entered the top 5 now, and coming in at number 5, we have Australia. Great beaches, great work-life balance, and great universities. These are the top selling points for you to study in Australia. And talking about universities, obviously the G8 universities are the best again when it comes to mechanical and aerospace engineering. But then you have universities such as RMIT, QUT, and UTS, which also have really strong programs in mechanical and aerospace engineering and arguably have a more hands-on learning experience. Now, when it comes to the Australian job market, you're in luck because jobs related to mechanical and aerospace engineering are actually in the skill shortage list for many provinces, but most of these jobs are still concentrated in 3 provinces: Queensland, New South Wales, and Victoria. So you would want to concentrate your shortlist among universities within these provinces. On the downside though, Australia has made it more challenging for international students to enter and study into the country. For one, they've increased the visa fees from 40,000 rupees to 1.6 lakh rupees recently. They've also put Indians in the highest risk category when it comes to visas. So that means that if you're an Indian watching this video, your chances of visa rejection just went up. And the third thing is they've introduced the genuine student requirement, as a part of which you are required to answer 4 or 5 essay type questions justifying why you want to study in Australia. And if the reader doesn't like your answers, then you guessed it, your visa is going to get rejected. But if you can overcome these hurdles, then Australia is definitely a great place for you to study mechanical or aerospace engineering. Coming at number 4, we have the Netherlands. The best part about the Netherlands is that more than 90% of the people speak English, which means that you won't have to learn the local language, at least for entry-level jobs. The caveat though is that at the bachelor's level, you will find a few programs that are taught in English, but majority of the programs are still taught in Dutch. However, at the master's level, most of the programs are actually taught in English. Now, speaking of universities and programs, the top 3 choices for mechanical and aerospace engineering would be TU Delft, TU Eindhoven, and the University of Twente. In terms of the job market, most of the jobs are concentrated in the Brainport Eindhoven region, and most of the jobs are concentrated in precision manufacturing as well as robotics, which means that there are relatively fewer jobs in aerospace engineering, just like you have with Switzerland. That doesn't mean that you can't get a job in aerospace engineering because the Netherlands is a part of the EU. You could in theory get a job in some other country and transfer using the EU blue card route. However, this is less common and more likely if you're a graduate from a really high ranked university such as TU Delft. Another downside with Netherlands is the cost of education. The annual tuition fee ranges between 20 to 30 lakh rupees for international students, which puts it out of the budget for most international students. But if you can afford it and if you don't want to learn a new language, the Netherlands is a great option for you. We've entered the top 3 now, and coming in at number 3, we have France. Now, admittedly, the number of English short programs in France at the undergraduate level is very few, but you do have a few options. And at the master's level, you will find many programs that are actually taught in English. In terms of the actual universities, my top picks would be Sorbonne, PSL, École Polytechnique, INSA, IPSA, Central Nantes, and ISA. These universities are pretty affordable too. Tuition ranges between 5 and 15 lakh rupees for international students, and you can apply for scholarships as well. You can get a comprehensive list of scholarships on the Campus France website. Now, in terms of jobs, there are plenty of jobs in the manufacturing sector in France. In fact, France is the 9th highest country when it comes to the manufacturing output. And most of the jobs are concentrated in the automotive as well as the aircraft manufacturing industry. You have some iconic companies such as Airbus, which is headquartered in France, and Bugatti, which is a premier hypercar company. So if you're looking for a great quality of education at an affordable cost with great job outcomes and don't mind learning a new language, then I would highly recommend France. At number 2, we have Germany, and you can probably guess why. It has Europe's largest industrial base, it has some great universities, and the tuition fee at public universities is nearly zero even for international students. Having said all that, Germany is making it slightly harder for international students to apply. Other countries such as Australia have done it by strengthening their visa requirements or increasing them, but Germany has done that by actually making applications tougher for international students. If you're a high school student looking to pursue an undergrad in Germany, then they have increased the 12th standard requirement from 50% to 70% for you to get the APS. And if you're an undergrad student who's planning to do their masters in Germany, well, then Germany recently announced the DMAT exam, which is kind of like the GRE. It's an aptitude test, which means that again, admissions are going to get restricted. So all of this means that Germany is moving from quantity to quality of students. And so I therefore feel that going forward, Germany will only be a viable option for those students who are academically strong. Now, in terms of universities, yes, the TU9 are great, but outside the TU9, you have institutions such as the Hamburg University of Technology, the University of Bremen, and the University of Magdeburg, which also offer really strong programs in mechanical and aerospace engineering. And remember, in Germany, employers don't really care about the ranking of the university, but rather the skills that you have. So you should prioritize a university that teaches you the skills and gives you the knowledge that is required for you to get a job in your target company. And you should also probably look for those universities which are close to the industry cluster in which you want to work. Coming in at number 1, the best country according to me in 2026 for mechanical and aerospace engineering still remains the United States. Now, I know that sounds a bit weird considering the cost of education as well as everything that's going on with the visa policies. And I understand the fear in the minds of students, but the fact of the matter is that there is no other country in the world that has the number of universities, the number of high quality universities rather I should say, for aerospace and mechanical engineering. There is no other country with the number of high paying, high quality, white collar jobs when it comes to research, development and design in mechanical and aerospace engineering. And so if you're willing to take a more long-term bet on your career, then the US is definitely the number 1 choice. And I again do understand your concerns around the visa policies, but it's important for you to understand that you will require the H-1B visa long after the Trump presidency has ended. So you should be taking a long-term view. Now, in terms of the universities themselves, there are far too many universities for me to list all of them in this video, but some great universities that come to mind for mechanical and aerospace engineering are MIT, Caltech, Cornell, UIUC, Purdue, Georgia Tech, Texas A&M, UT Austin, and Embry-Riddle. These are all great universities which are great either for their academics or for the research or for their job placements or for a combination of all the three. And so again, I want to emphasize this fact. If you're okay with the cost of education and if you're okay with taking a long-term bet on your career, the US still remains the number 1 choice. But if you're not okay with these risks, then hey, we've discussed 9 other great options and you could choose one of those countries to apply to. So that brings us to a conclusion of my list of top 10 countries in 2026 for you to study mechanical and aerospace engineering. If you didn't see your country on the list, comment it below and I'll share my thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.